All right. Hey guys, for everyone listening, it's Josh here, and I've got Anthony and on the call, and Anthony's got some interviews lined up with some companies. And oh yeah, Anthony's not in the program, so I'm just kind of coaching him on what to look for when you're kind of going into a software sales role with a different background. And so I'm just going to answer some of his questions and give him some coaching here on this call. So Anthony, real quick, just give us kind of a short background on like what your sales background is and kind of the situation leading up to your interview and where you're at with the company.
Okay, yeah. So I've actually been in the auto industry sales part of it all for about 11 years. Been doing subprime sales as well as prime market sales. Subprime is basically people with less than perfect credit,
Yep.
and then prime customers as well. So I mean, just basically regular retail. I've actually been an auto broker as well. Besides the auto industry that I was in, I did carpeting, flooring sales, home improvements, um, just pretty much anything. I've actually sold memberships to Diamond Rewards Club members for real estate, timeshares,
Okay.
regular customer service, and pretty much about it. I've actually been an auto broker for about a good 6 years now, and also working in the retail side. I've worked with AutoNation, a couple other, big auto groups, Penske. Always been on the top echelon of the sales, pushing out units. I'm more of a volume guy. I've always been customer service index rating, usually up above, 9. Everybody that's been in the auto industry understands how important that is. And that's pretty much about the gist of it.
Okay.
The whole reason why that
So just to
the whole
summarize,
reason.
just so I understand and everyone's on the same page listening, because I'm going to break it simple, is you've worked in, it sounds like, auto a lot. You've got customer service experience and sales and brokering, and you've performed well in all three of those areas. And at the same time, you've dabbled in real estate and a couple other areas. So you've kind of, and then retail. So you've kind of done retail, auto, and real estate, and that's you're pretty good at it too. Would that be a fair assessment then?
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly it.
All right, good. So that's just to make it clear for everyone listening. All right, and where are we at now?
So right now, I'm actually in a transition. I came across, and I've actually been looking into getting into, selling SSA, SaaS, right? Service as a software. Am I saying that
We
right?
call it SaaS in the industry. Yeah, sales or software as a service is SaaS. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, no, and I'm looking at the market right now. So I just recently departed from the auto industry just because of, you have places like Carvana.
Yep.
People are doing clicks away for auto buying. So, the middleman is kind of being cut out, and pay plans and everything else is disrupting the industry for, salesmen and sales managers alike. And they're, pretty sure that by 2020, there's going to be half of the jobs taken away from there. And it's just not worth the hours or anything else anymore. And, for myself, I look at myself and I know that I have a high income skill, basically building rapport, selling, doing a lot of things that a lot more, I guess, take a lot more tedious work, paying attention to details, really trying to figure out the sale of the customer or the client, at hand.
Yeah.
And, all these skills I acquired over just kind of dibbling and dabbling in different types of markets. And I've kind of noticed, going in to go apply for different markets like real estate, like, different auto industries, even private dealerships. I went in there and I've gotten, semi offers, but it's just not the money that I'm looking for anymore. It's, the company that I just had left, I was averaging, right around 8,900 a month, give or take. But it was just a lot of hours. I was, at work pretty much 7 days a week, doing 10 hours days, sometimes 13-hour days. And, anybody that's in the auto industry says, that's kind of normal. Well, at least out here in Arizona, because we run it 7 days a week, and it's usually 12-hour days at the dealership, 8:30 to 8:30. And, when I'm looking out in the market and I'm looking at, also what the market and the financials of the country is going, I was thinking about doing solar. Everybody knows about the tariffs that are going on with solar and how it's really hurting that sector of, sales.
Yeah, we get a lot of, just a side note, we get a lot of people applying to the program from solar. Like they're telling me about, exactly what's happening with taxes and the regulations. And solar was nice like 2 or 3 years ago for like a stint. And they were like, man, I was making because they moved from car sales into solar. I talked to a lot of people that moved from car sales or real estate into solar a few years back. And they're like, man, it was good for like 6 months or it was great for a year. But now I'm looking for software because all the places I was installing these solar places for, sometimes they were, the person that lived there, I talked to them and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? They're like, oh, I'm in software sales. And they're like, wow, their house is pretty nice. So maybe I should check out what selling software is all about. So we hear that all the time. So anyways, I just had to comment on that.
Yeah, and I actually have a buddy that just went on to, just got on with LinkedIn, and he's actually doing fabulous. He's always been a great friend of mine. I've always, brought him on to different types of companies that I've worked for, and I know the type of worker that he is. And just having that work ethic that he does, it's incredible. But the thing about it is so much work ethic with so little pay. There's really nothing, your fruits of your labor are kind of minimal.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but he got onto LinkedIn here in the Valley, and he loves it. He's, his time is actually valued, and the skill that he brings to the table, as well as the skills that he develops within the company itself, is pretty top notch. And that's one reason why that I wanted to come into SaaS and basically, blow the doors off. And what really caught my attention to your company, with your program, is you kind of giving the inside tips about everything. And I'm a person that likes to do it myself, and really try to see what's what on both sides of the railroad tracks.
Cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that. You're looking to get more information, and I find that people that typically have that mindset of like growth and always learn and never, because I talk to a lot of, our whole team, all we do is talk to salespeople every month, and so we get 1,000 people at least every month that apply, which ends up in at least 300 to 400 meetings minimum, if not up to 500, because about 40% half people book meetings. So we get a lot of people, and then immediately when I get the vibe that someone's not teachable, they're arrogant, because let's be honest, we all have a level of ego in sales. We love the challenge. We love feeling like we're good at what we do. But the problem becomes when we stop growing and we feel like we've reached a pinnacle where no one can teach us anything anymore. And I'm not getting that vibe for you at all. So for everyone listening, I'm kind of giving an example of the bad things that I get from salespeople on calls. And the thing is, sales managers in the tech sector, man, they are so smart. Their emotional, their EQ, their emotional intelligence is so high that they can suss that out very quickly, which is why you mentioned earlier, Anthony, that you did already pass their phone assessment or the phone interview, which is great, because that's one of the things they're already testing for in that interview is if you don't have the good character or attitude, they're not going to, or the culture fit, they're going to like axe you out right there. So that's kind of what they're testing for, is just that general, likability in that first call. And then it gets really more technical in the second, third, or fourth interview stages when they begin quizzing your knowledge of the sales process, things like that. So let me see. There's one other thing I wanted to hit on is, and also for, I guess, these things are always live, as everyone knows listening. So I just dropped $6,000 on a course for myself related to marketing and related to marketing operations. So and then last 2 weeks ago, I dropped $5,000 on a cryptocurrency course. So I'm always believe I need to learn from others, not just in sales, because I even pay for sales school. I dropped last month a few thousand on another sales course, because we're always studying what's happening in the market. So I'm giving that as an example to you, Anthony, but I also, everyone's listening, that it's the mindset that you were never done. If you ever feel like you've accomplished like what you're going to accomplish in your life and that no one else can teach you anything else, that's arrogance, and you're going to start declining. Your career is going to start declining. you need to have that mindset. So I know, Anthony, you've got that. So that's the one thing that you've got. So I'll go ahead and give you some feedback right now. We haven't even gotten into your interviews yet. But number one is you're really good on the phone, which is important because software sales or SaaS sales is all going to be done through video calls or phone calls. And then you're going to be using email a lot, texting sometimes, and LinkedIn or the social media tools a lot. So that's good that you've at least got the speaking part down, which I do find, though, that most people that are doing face-to-face sales like yourself, they tend to master that area of the communication, but all the other parts related to tools or workflows, and then some parts of the skills that are still underdeveloped, like writing emails or writing blogs or how to use LinkedIn properly so that you're actually engaging people and not just like having a profile that does nothing. So there are still areas and skills that could be developed, but as far as like communication skills go, I find that generally people are pretty good speakers. Although I'll go ahead and say this, Anthony, is that from what your example you've just given now, of just you explaining your situation, I can already tell you're probably, I would say, an A player or in the top tier of outside sales reps for communication. So you can go ahead and pat yourself on the back that you're really good at that. So, because I do get car salespeople or real estate or other outside sales reps who, you know, they're B players. And I'm always, and everyone that's listening knows I am not, I call it straight. I'll say you're an A player, B player, or C player in different categories, because every sales team, just like every sports team, has the A team, the B team, and sometimes the C team. And it does no one any good for me to make someone feel good. And if it's a lie, because sales managers, when you're interviewing, they're not going to care if your feelings are hurt. I mean, to some level they will, but they're not going to hire you if they don't think you can do the job. But unfortunately, the problem with them is they're just going to give you a yes or no, and then not normally going to take the time to explain exactly the areas that you're not good enough in yet and why they turned you down. And so that's why, you know, when I talk to people, I like to be straight up and just say, this is what it is, because no one else in your life is probably going to be able to tell you that because they don't have the ability. And then number two, if they have the ability, they're not going to give you the time because they're already in a position of management and they have thousands of people to evaluate every year. So anyways, and that was my rant. Any questions before we move on?
No, and you know, with you telling me that I'm an outside sales rep, that's actually the position I'm applying for, which is a remote sales engineer.
Okay.
So I mean, it's my first conversation, well, actually my first interview, which I just got done with on Friday, was well, the phone interview, should I say? And then that was basically, you know, what you explained is what, you know, kind of the emotional intelligence, the speaking of the voice, and how subtle terms are. Now, to touch on your email, the first initial invite to move forward was actually to you know, reply to a prospective customer inquiry, and it gives you a little bit of challenges. It lets you know that you're working for a fictitious company, kind of a role playing aspect, and it gives you an email saying, you know, hi, I'm the store manager of such and such, and you know, this is what I do. And then it kind of throws you a curveball, says I'm out of the country for like the next few weeks, chat over the phone, but I appreciate it if you email me, or can't chat over the phone, but I appreciate it if you email me, and how we might be able to work together. And that's basically it. So, I mean, I can see why, you know, the whole email construction and that type of skill is really important. Now, I've been an internet sales manager, you know, for several different brands in the auto industry, and really trying to piece together from different types of characteristics, because you have people that are, you know, PhD doctors, to some people that own their own business that don't have a college degree, that like different aspects of, you know, professionalism. PhD doctors would, you know, they're more analytical, especially if you're selling an engineer. Now, if you're selling an engineer, they would want to know specs and everything else like that on a Corvette. What type of different gear ratios does this Corvette have to this Corvette, kind of type of thing. So, you know, being very analytical and you know, paying attention to your detail and how you present yourself is really important. And I think that's, you know, with what you just said, that just kind of put off a light bulb on my head, and I'm kind of eager of how I stand there. I'm not too sure if I'm up to par in the tech industry, because I know there's a lot of, you know, individuals that are very analytical as well.
Yeah.
It's, and that type of coaching right there, to myself, I feel like that's invaluable, because whether it be in this industry or either just bettering myself as a professional, that's something that I would really want to look into.
Yeah. Well, let's take one step back and let's take this step by step. And number one is what is the role? Because you mentioned outside sales, or no, this is actually an outside sales role because it's remote. But I just want to clarify that real quick. Is it sounds like most SaaS positions are what's called inside sales, meaning you don't actually physically go to a person's location to sell them. It's sold on the phone. But what you have here is you're working remotely from home or wherever you'd like, but it still is an online or digital or virtual sale. Is that correct? Or no, you're actually closing deals in person? Just want to clarify that.
The remote from my home, I'm not going in person. I'm actually on the phone, doing Skype, all the other good stuff. I don't actually meet the client. It's more so of just basically voicemails, email, or voice phone calls, emails, or either video chats.
All right, got it. What's the name of the company, by the way?
Topple.
Top Towel?
Yeah, Top Towel. There you go.
No way, dude.
T-O-P-T-A-L.
One of my good friends, best friends here in Charleston, I'm not going to name him, was their sales director up until last year for the whole global company. So
yeah?
I'm familiar with Top Tool. Yeah, man, definitely. They're like, they got a large portal for hiring tech talent, and it's kind of like a recruiting role. And they do like developers, designers, and other tech roles.
Oh, yeah.
So you're basically going to be in one of their remote recruiters, and you just have to be very technical, though, because you're going to be speaking to a lot of people who need to know technical information related to like coding and all that language for tech, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I know Top really well. Yeah, one of our previous pre-hire trainers, like I said, good friend of mine. He's actually, well, yeah, I don't want to give away too much because he didn't give me permission to start saying all this. But see, that's what you get when it's a live call. Like, this is gonna be a fun call for people to listen on. So yeah, Top Tool. I'm very familiar with the company and their business model. So I can say that the cool thing about them, is they're remote and they have a remote culture. I'm not going to share any more than that, though, on the recording. So maybe later I'll talk to you. But just because I know very in-depth kind of their company structure and what's happening right now in the sales team. So I'm going to leave that out. But let's just walk through kind of their interview process for this call. So what's the next step? What are you supposed to do with them next?
Okay, so basically what I do is they'll be giving me a call on Monday.
Okay.
Looking at my background and kind of reviewing what I submitted, and they're going to give me instructions on an email, which I'm basically waiting for. Why I've been checking it so long. That's pretty much about it right now, because I did the little sales assessment call and everything else like that, and they're asking me what I do in a certain type of situation. With a said customer, and how I would, a said potential client, and how I would present myself, and what, and next you know that how I would, what I think about my future, and what type of position that I'm looking for, and how am I going to build off of that? Kind of, yeah.
Cool. All right. So yeah, this. Did they tell you how many more steps are in the interview process?
I believe 3 more.
Okay. So this is when they are going to get more technical and really ask themselves, number one, are we going to, and here's just a tip for everyone listening. Remember that they're looking for 2 things, and 2 things only. Number one is, are we going to like this person if we work with them? If we add them to the team, are we going to enjoy working with them and like them? So are we going to like Anthony? That's the first thing we're thinking. But the second thing, which is also very, very important, is can they actually do the job? Are they going to slam this out of the park? Are they going to kill it if we hire them in the sales department? Those are the 2 things they need to hear, like a strong yes from the hiring managers and the team, because they're going to be thinking this about everyone they're interviewing. So you essentially need to be able to have them say a strong yes for both of those questions. So going forward, they're going to ask you a lot of detailed questions, and we don't have time to go into it all because that would be a very, very long conversation. But what I'll say is you do need to be prepared for is for them to talk to you in specifics about, they're going to ask you things about tools, skills, and workflows. That's actually why we structured our program pre-hired for that. You need to know that when they go into tools, they're going to ask you lots of questions about your software stack that you've used in the past, meaning, and just so you know, that means, because a lot of people want to say, they don't know what I even mean when I say, what's your software stack? They're asking you, what sales tools did you use in your past jobs to sell? And a lot of times, most people who aren't in this industry would say something like, oh, I use, Microsoft's Excel spreadsheet, or, I use Gmail for email. And then maybe sometimes because they want to sound relevant, they'll say, oh, in Salesforce. They don't say I've used Salesforce or mastered it. They just say I know of Salesforce. And then you're going to be prepared to, anything that you do say you're familiar with, they're going to ask you to walk me through how you used it step by step. And that way it separates people from who are just throwing out keywords that they've learned on a YouTube video from people who actually can do the work. Now, the thing that's makes it even more difficult about the tools section, when they're going to start asking you about the software tools you're used to using, they're looking, most sales reps in SaaS industry are using about 10 to 15 different tools to do their job. Like, there's not just one. And if you've seen our website, Anthony, you've seen that there's 6 main categories that we talk about, which is going to be CRMs, sales, automation, lead generation, lead enrichment, productivity tools, and then artificial intelligence. So those are like kind of the 6 main categories, and you'll be using 1 or 2 maybe from each category. Generally, there's only one CRM like Salesforce or HubSpot. Like, they'll choose one. And so again, if you don't know the answers to those questions, and again, if you've been with your background, they're not going to expect you to know a whole lot because you've not needed to use that much software in your previous jobs. Just be aware that that is going to affect your hireability. Even though you've charmed them or you're very charismatic and a great speaker, they're going to be thinking, but only about 20% of this job is on a call, or 15% is only on a call or video. Everything else has to do with tools, has to do with writing abilities, has to do with the other skills like that have to do with, and then the workflows, like how do you structure your day? How do you manage your time? Do you have a system that you followed in the past? Like, that's the things. It is more analytical, like you said earlier. So those are the things we're going to be looking for. And so I'll just pause there and let you ask some questions, because really I've only got about 5 more minutes and I don't have time to go through every single thing. That's all we have, of course. But anyways, I can answer a few questions though, if you'd like.
Yeah, no worries. So like, as far as the tools by prospecting, what would be the main outlet there? I mean, you mentioned LinkedIn, and I've I got a pretty good LinkedIn page. I've been a VIP purchase coordinator for a couple of big name dealerships here in the Valley. So I mean, I think I have that going, but I mean, I'm like I said, this is all new to me in this industry, I should say.
Yeah. So there's literally thousands of, like, and I'm not exaggerating, there's literally thousands of sales software out there that companies pull from, and they're all different. And I actually don't know what Top Till's using. I can ask. It's Sunday, so I can't text him because he's not on Slack, because we use Slack in the sales world, or in the tech world. So he's not on Slack right now, but tomorrow I can maybe ask him. But so one maybe tool you can look at is Zoom Info, Oracle Data. Like, there's a lot of, I mean, those are just 2 really big names that are out there. But again, it's not going to really benefit you for me to, well, I couldn't list all of them. But one thing that you can do is you can go to 4letter.io, which is my other company's website that builds sales teams. And you can click on the resources page, and you can see we've curated about 100 of different like softwares in these categories that you can kind of just peruse and browse, and that might help you out. And so again, that's 4letter.io.
All right, 4letter.io. Okay.
There's a huge sales resources has a huge page of links to lots of software in different categories, so that should help you out. All right, and then any other questions?
So with the lead generation, that the four-letter .io would have those other programs on there. I'm assuming that the lead generation would come from, kind of like marketing or social networking and like LinkedIn and such like that.
Yeah,
Is that the main basis of it?
Yeah, that's some of them. But like the other things, like I told you, Zoom Info, Oracle, and lots of other companies you've never or maybe never used or have heard of, those are lead generation tools or software. So there's tons out there. So you'll just have to kind of check them out. That's the best resource I could give you, because you literally could just take the time to go through each of them, check them out, and just learn about them. And then and now in our program, for everyone listening, we actually give free access to some of these tools because we have partnerships with a lot of these tech companies. So while everyone's in our program, we give free access to all these tools so you can learn how to use them and go through workflows that we actually give you blueprints for. And so that by the time you're interviewing, you literally just you word for word, we explain, and that's the other part about the program. In the workflows section, we have the last part that talks about your hiring workflow. Like, how do you run a system or a machine to get hired? And you're already past the first step of scheduling. One, you've got this interview scheduled, but then it walks you through how to pass each of those interviews and what questions to be prepared for, what answers to give, how to curate your own. We really have a blueprint for it, and you just fill in your information. And that's what impresses sales managers, because normally they're actually not at the level that we're preparing our members for. And that's why they're impressed. It's like, oh my gosh, who's this person? They know more than we should, or we do at this level, because we break down, and essentially here's the way you get hired. It's not an interview thing. It's you demonstrating that you know a sales process so well from start to finish, and you show them that not only do you understand how to run a sales process, but you understand how to build a sales funnel from the ground up. When you're a one-man or one-woman sales machine, that impresses the crap out of a sales manager, that you can show the big picture and break down each of the big picture into like quadrants, and then each of those quadrants break that down into a series of steps, and in each step you could fill them in. And that's actually how Elon Musk interviews any of their hires. I've read an article on, not that I know Elon Musk, because I don't play with billionaires. I play with millionaires, like in our businesses that we work with. But I've read the article in Forbes that he talked about how we interview candidates, and also on LinkedIn that he wrote. And one of the things is he knows that the best talent for any job that they interview for, and the way to know that is that someone can give you a quick 30-second or 60-second summary of what they do and what the job entails. And then you can ask them to break that down into chunks. And then they can spend a little more time breaking that into chunks. And then when you ask them to give the details in each of those chunks and like micro steps, if they can do all of that, you've got an incredible hire, and you better snatch them up. If they can't do that, they're average at best. And, probably a pass for, top tech companies. They're looking for the best. So anyways,
wow.
Any other last questions?
No, there's nothing. You've actually given me, just even with the short 30-minute phone call, you've given me a great insight, because I'm thinking that myself that I could go do this alone. Well, I'm just that type of guy that likes to do stuff on his own. But with what you have presented, within this phone call, and actually guided me through, my next steps, it sounds like it's pretty awesome. And I'm gonna be really looking into the program, really, and I'm. To tell you the truth, I was basically a little skeptical. I'm always a little skeptical about everything, but to get on the phone with you, to email you back and forth on a Sunday, it speaks volumes on what you're doing, and for me, that's pretty awesome.
Well, thanks for saying that, Anthony. And just for everyone listening, though, because I'm all about managing expectations, because I run sales teams this way. So when our members join our program, I run it the same way. I tell people straight up, this is what you need to know, because if you know what to expect out of the program, and then if you know what to expect as soon as you're done, what to expect in terms of your job opportunities in the market and how fast you'll get a job, and what to expect in terms of range of salary and base, and how long it takes to get promoted, and how to stand out to get promoted. So if we can make that crystal clear before you join, then if you do join, you're going to love this program. And that's how we have like a 96% success rate, fluctuates between like 90 to 93 up to 97. But on average, it's 96%. And that we keep incredibly happy members. And that's what we're trying to do, is create this lifelong community. That's why we're actually creating a new I don't want to bring that up. No, I'll go. I've already started. We're creating a new Slack group so that we can all stay in like constant communication with each other as we mature in our careers, because we're still only like 10 months young or 9.5 months young at this stage of the business. But we're on that mission to get 1,000 sales reps into six-figure sales careers at tech companies by the end of 2019. And that's the mission we're on. And so in order to facilitate that, it's kind of like this lifelong career journey that I want to help everyone be a part of. We're creating kind of a Slack group for everyone that we can stay in touch and always get kind of that feedback, not just from us and the trainers on our team, but also members, because we've already got members in management positions now. Like we've just got someone in the program that is now the sales manager at Google from just 2 or 3 weeks ago. So we're getting all these people who start off as a junior level member, but in 3 to 6 to 9 months, they're getting promoted that fast because they're the best of the best when you have a mentor who's built sales teams, and our trainers too internally who give one-on-ones with our members, like when you have the course and one-on-one mentoring from people, you skyrocket in your career. Like you stand out wherever you go because you've got someone who's done it before and is actually who's brought in to consult with those companies when they struggle with their teams. So everything happens at a much faster rate, and you can expect better results. So thanks for sharing that. And yeah, I'm completely I tell people how it's going to be. So that's what they expect. And then I also tell people though, Anthony, I'll tell you this, and I've told one other person, because for everyone to give context on this call, I don't normally jump on a call right away, but see, here's the thing is you'll find about if you're ever selling to CEOs or founders of younger tech companies, they have their free time on Saturdays and Sundays. I'm almost never able to jump on a call like this Monday to Friday. I have a team for that, so you'll always have access to our team 9 to 9 a.m., 9 p.m. live chat, unlimited email support, and the one-on-ones. But he got me at the right time, so I was happy to hop on and talk with him about this. And that actually works as strategy when you reach out to other senior managers or co-founders of tech companies if you're selling into tech. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead. Yeah, that's one other thing. But what was one other thing I wanted to hit on was before I ended this hey, there's so much I wanted to cover, and I'm already getting sidetracked. Anyways, I'm sure it'll come back to me. It's context. Yeah, so Anthony wanted to do this on his own. That's what I wanted to tell. Yeah, so we've had 6 other members last month that also wanted to do this on their own, and so I actually was just sharing with Anthony in an email. I admire wanting to go it alone, but what I found is that most people just don't know what they don't know when they're coming in from another industry. And so I was telling him in the email that out of the 6 people who said to us, hey, I'm kind of already got 1 interview or 2 interviews lined up, and I want to just see how this thing plays out because I want to save money before I decide going with you. I'm like, dude, I would do the same exact thing. So I completely am fine with that. I'm like, come back to us if you want. But at the same time, I'm like, how about you consider all the stuff that you may not know, and let's just talk about that, because out of the 6 that we talked with, 2 people chose to sign up immediately pre-hired. They're just like, you know what, I don't want to risk it. These companies are really good. I don't want to risk not working. And then 4 other people chose to do it on their own. And out of the 4 people doing it on their own solo, we had one person named Jason that he did great. He actually got a $40,000 base offer, which is a little low. I told him that he would probably get more. He'd be able to negotiate for higher and have be on a faster promotion track if he had our program. But I even told him on our admissions call, because that was the one out of those 6 I took personally. The other ones our team took. I told Jason that you probably can do this without our help. I said, you most likely, based on what you've told me, the competition's not too bad, and you're a good guy. You've got good skills. I think that you probably could do it, but I can't ever guarantee one way or the other. But I did say that you would do better probably with us. But he went ahead and did it, and we still stay in touch, and I actually followed up with him. He got the job, told me he did. Now, I told him straight up he could probably do this without us. It's just a matter of, is it worth it to you? Pay the money, get some help, maybe grow a little faster. So what he actually says is, I'm going to come back and just do the program in a couple months with the money I make at this new job. Now, the other 5 people, and then there was another one who also got hired on our end, but the other 4 people who said no, they want to do it on their own. 3 people are still looking for their jobs. They still didn't do it. They didn't pass. Now they're trying to move on to other jobs, and they still have not decided to get any help from anyone. That's kind of the summary of the data just for everyone joined. Now I will say that the guy from one of the 2 people that joined us, instead of doing it on their own, when he interviewed at their companies, not only did he get an $80,000 OTE offer for his first year, the sales management of that company told this guy named Joseph that not only do we want to make you an offer, but you're actually the most impressive sales candidate we've interviewed in the last year. And that company specifically, when I asked Joseph, I was like, because I know the company that he was interviewing with, and I'm like, dude, they interview like at least 500 to 600 people a year because their sales team is not small. So to get to that volume, they have to go through at least 7 to 10 candidates per role minimum. So they've interviewed at least 600, if not, probably even more than that. So that's a lot. That's a very big compliment to get. But here's the thing, and this is no BS for everyone listening. And so, Anthony, sorry, I know I'm preaching to the people listening now for the last couple minutes. Hopefully this is helpful. And I'm almost done. Like his story, Joseph's story, this guy's story, like that is normal. So this is the thing I want to explain to everyone on the program is it's not like they're the outliers and they're like the best of the best. I mean, some of these people are better. We have A players and B players coming in our program. I'm always going to tell people straight, you're not going to always be the best because if you need to learn more, it's going to take you more time to learn because of your background. That it is what it is, but you still will get good results. You're just not going to be the best in the team that you come into. You're going to have to take time to learn and practice because you're a slower learner, and that's okay. But for those, I mean, you're just going to kill it. You're going to impress sales managers because, again, we get at least a handful of sales managers coming to us every week because they've interviewed one of our members and they track us down and say, hey, I was so impressed with Anthony or so impressed with so-and-so when they interviewed with me. I was wondering, do you have more people you can send our way? And I'm like, well, by the way, we do. We have a recruiting division that actually, let me introduce you to our recruiter. And then sometimes they'll come back and say, hey, could you do some onboarding for all of our new candidates like once a quarter? Could you do some custom training for us? Or could you give us your course to onboard all of our new trainings or new hires because your candidates or the people that we hire from you have actually outperformed all of our other ones from the different categories. So we actually would like to pay you to train some of our internal sales reps. I'm like, well, okay, great. So it makes us money to have successful reps. And that's how this works is we have to have great sales reps coming out of our program who are the best of the best, because if we don't, I won't get more business on the other stuff that we're doing. So that's the way the program's been designed. So anyways, that's the end of my rant explaining kind of like the full scope of this picture. Anthony, I know you got more than you bargained for on this call. You didn't think I was going to be filming it. You didn't know I was going to be putting this up on our site for our members, but we are.
That's totally fine. And I mean, if I could add something to that, I'm a guy that likes to go into a new position with some confidence. And, I mean, we as salespeople always have that ego and cockiness and everything else like that we have to believe in ourselves to take ourselves to the next level. But after this call and everything that we've had, I'm kind of like, all right, now I got to readjust myself because with cars, it's easy. I can go in. I still have the general managers of several different dealerships here in the Valley that are giving me a call asking me to come work for them. I just see myself on a different path, and with what you have explained to me and kind of touch base on, it's not even in depth. It's very, 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 very light. It's barely the tip of the iceberg, and I'm kind of excited because I'm like, oh wow, I got a whole another world to learn, and it's just that much more to my resume. It's just that much more to my skills to build on, and it's so quick. With the program that you're offering. So, I mean, I'm definitely going to rethink about going at it alone if Topple doesn't give me an offer,
Yeah. Awesome. Well, glad to hear it. And this is for everyone listening. This wasn't a sales call. This was actually just jumping on a coaching call. So I'm glad that this has helped you. And I'm going to stop recording though, and we can catch up though after the call. Thanks again, Anthony, though, for just sharing. And hopefully this coaching has helped for you.
It's been great. Thank you.